So to do some laser cutting, we're going to use a program called Cuttle. So you're going to go to Google and just type in here, Cuttle XYZ, hit enter. And it should be the first program that pops up and has the scissors here as well. So click on that. All right, now for you, you're going to have to go to sign up. All right, you're going to create an account with email. Now for your email, use your school email. So for mine, it's daniel.marotti, all right, 688 at schools.sa.edu.au. Yours will be very similar. Obviously this part here will be a little bit different. Your username, if I was you, to make it nice and easy, I would probably just copy and paste that here. Actually, it's not letting me use all the numbers, so you maybe could just do your first name dot your last name, and that might be easy enough for you. Okay. If not, you can just maybe cut down if your last name is really long, and you could go just the first letter of your first name, and then dot your last name. All right. So I'll just leave it as it was before, and now obviously your password. You want to make sure you use a password that you're going to remember. Write it down if you're not going to. Otherwise, if it's a password you use for everything else, then that's probably easy enough for you to remember. So do that, press create an account. All right, I'm just going to log into my account because I've already got one. So go log in. Awesome, so you should come up to a screen that looks something like this. Now, just so you know, obviously here's where you're going to create a new project. Now, because we're using the free account, we can only create up to 5 projects. So what's going to happen is if you've got too many here, then obviously you're going to have to start deleting some so you can make new projects. So we'll click on new project, and it's going to take us to this here. Okay, so now this is where we can start making our design. On the left hand side, you've got texts and some tools and stuff here you can use as well. It's very simple. If you want to start making something, all right, let's say we're going to do a rectangle. We're going to click and hold and drag it over here. All right. What's awesome about this program as well is you can change the dimensions. So if I know that I'm making, let's say, a key tag that's going to be maybe 40 millimeters this way, I can go 40 mil, press enter. And then this one here, I can change this. Let's say this should be 20, enter. All right, then all of a sudden I've got a square or rectangle that is the shape or the size that I actually need. All right. What you can do is we can click off of that. We can grab the rectangle. We can move it around if we need. On the right hand side, if you just scroll down here a little bit, okay, there's some things obviously here you can do. You can rotate your block around and whatever. But down here is what we actually want to look for. All right. Now for stroke, that is the outline. So at the moment, ours is black in color. All right, now for laser cutting, if it's black, it means you're going to engrave it. So it's not actually going to cut that shape. It will just engrave it, which means it's going to make like a mark on the material, which would be obviously a rectangle. So if I click on it again, let's say I wanted to cut this out, because it's going to be the outside of my key tag. I would have to change the color. So click on color on the black. All right, then obviously there's some preset colors down here for us. So for you, if you click on the red one, all right, that will then change your shape to be red. All right, so that's easy enough. There's some other things that you can do as well. So if I click on the shape, obviously there's a fill as well. So if I tick fill, and obviously I can choose the color that I want. So let's say I wanted the whole thing to be black. All right, what's going to happen with the laser cutter is it's going to engrave this whole section that's black. So it'll go through in lines all the way across till it gets to the end. All right, and engrave all that, and then it will start cutting. All right, now you may want that for your design. Most of you probably won't. So if I was you, I'd probably just leave it at no color here. So you can just click on that. All right, so there's no fill. All right, it's just the outline. Awesome, there's a few other things you can do as well. So if you go up to modify, sorry, you just got to click on the shape first and go to modify. We can look at rounding the corners. At the moment, we've got some really sharp corners. All right, if we click on round corners, here where the radius is, you can then start putting in a number for that. So for example, if I did 3 millimeter radius, I could go 10. All right, so Depending on your design, I might just go 5 for now, press enter. Okay, and now all of a sudden it's got nice soft rounded edges, or corners, sorry. All right, so there's things like that that you can do as well. Now, there's heaps of other tools. Obviously, if you wanted a circle, we could chuck that in here as well. Let's say this was a key tag we were making. All right, we could resize this ourselves like that to get a random size. Or like I said before, we can click on these boxes, and if I want that to be a 3mm hole, so 3 by 3, yep, and that's done. All right, so now I can obviously place that wherever I want. So say we want the hole to be in the corner. Now see how I'm quite far away from my design. If I hold Control on my keyboard and then scroll with my mouse, I can then start to zoom in and zoom out. All right. If you don't hold Control, so I'm letting go of Control now, if I zoom in and zoom out, it's just going to move my page up and down. Okay, so you need to hold Control, there it is, to do that. All right, so with this key tag, I want to make sure that obviously this here is getting cut out. At the moment, as you know, all right, if it's black, it's only going to engrave that. All right, so it's not going to be a cut all the way through. So if we click on that once, scroll down here, obviously where the stroke is, we want to change the black to red. All right, now we've got this getting cut out all the way around and the hole as well. All right, so that's a good start. So, like I said before, you've got polygons, stars, lines, emojis, all sorts of stuff you can put in here. If you go browse all shapes, you've got even more options here. You've got curved lines, all sorts of stuff, different types of text. All right, warped text as well. All right, everything down here and more advanced shapes. All right. So you can play around with all those, but for now, we're just going to look at some of the basics. So we're going to go back. And we're going to look at text. So if I grab that and drag it over, okay, at the moment it's just AA, and you can see that here. All right, so what I want you to do is just type in your name. So for me, I'm just going to write Daniel. All right, I can grab that, I can drag it back in the middle. Now, if that name is too big, all right, like I said before, you can grab the corner and you can resize that yourself. All right, or if you have a dimension that you want to use, let's say I wanted this to be 20mm long, I can do that myself. Okay, so that's one thing that you can do there. Now, at the moment, it's engraving, so you might decide that you want to just engrave your name onto your key tag. All right, but if you did want to cut that, like I showed you before, you scroll down, change the color to red, and now it's going to cut out all of these things here, all these lines. Just be mindful. All right, so for example, this A, so it's going to cut all the way around here, and also going to cut in here as well. Now, because this shape here isn't touching the edges, we're going to lose that. So you're only going to see this part of the A without this. Okay, so you could get a little rectangle or line tool and join these pieces together. All right, same as the E, you're going to have the same problem. This part here is going to fall out. All right, so you could do that as well. Or here's another option. If I click on the text here where it says font, I can click on that one, and all of a sudden I've got heaps of different options for fonts that I can use. All right, now if I go down and you can see there's one called stencil, I can choose any of these. Now see how all of a sudden it's done all the hard work. It's done all the hard work for us. So if I zoom in, now you can see that this is all joined up. Okay, so if it was cutting this, that section there would stay. If we look at the E, all right, obviously that section there is going to stay as well. Okay, so a stencil font is probably one of the best ones you can use just to make it really nice and easy. All right, but like I said, if you use a different font, then you might have to manually do it yourself, which I can show you later. All right, so we looked at that. So there's fonts. Like I said, you can obviously try any of these. Handwriting ones generally look pretty nice as well. All right, but yeah, you can go around and play with all those as well. So I might just leave out one of these stencils. Cool, just leave out that one. All right, down here, if we scroll down, once again, there's heaps of different stuff here you can play with. You can do like letter spacing as well. So if you want the letters to be more spaced out, or obviously you can do that too. Yeah, if you wanted it to be an infill. So this is where potentially you might want an infill. All right, now, let's say for example, we don't want to cut this out. We just want to engrave those lines. Okay. Inside, we might want, so I'll just zoom in. So in this section here, you might want that to all be engraved out as well. Okay, so to do that, we're going to go down to fill, and we'll make this one all black. Okay, so now what's going to happen is it's going to engrave all of that, not just the line that you had before. So it's going to be a lot bolder, so you can see it all perfectly. Okay, so that's one idea, I suppose, that you could use just to make sure that you get the engraving that you want for your design. All right, so next thing we're going to look at is we've got a pen tool here. All right, so before we were looking at shapes that obviously are already pre-made for us. It makes it a little bit easy just to sort of grab things and drag it over. All right, but a pen tool allows you to start drawing your own shape. So for example, if I wanted like a big wave along here or something like that, I could click and I can move the pen. So let's say for example, I wanted the next point to be here. Okay, I could make straight lines just by clicking. All right, but let's say over here I want it to be a nice curvy line. So I'm just going to click here again, make that straight. When I get up here, if I click and hold, all of a sudden I'm starting to get a curve now. So I can choose sort of where I want that curve to be. And that's by clicking and holding. So I can come down here, click and hold again, come back up here, click and hold. All right, so you can start to get sort of wacky shapes just by clicking and holding. All right, so if you're happy with that, then you can just press escape on your keyboard. Actually, sorry, now you're going to have to click on the ends point. There you go, press escape on your keyboard, and then it will stop making that for you. All right, if you're done with that line, obviously go here to select, and now that's its own individual shape or path, as you can see up here. All right, so same thing, you can change that. If I wanted that to be cut out, exactly what I showed you before, now you're going to have a little cutout like that all the way around. All right, yeah, so there's things like that you can do as well. Let's say, for example, you wanted, see how we've just got a rectangle here with some curved edges? All right, for your key tag, you could easily use a pen tool to make your own custom shape. All right, you just got to make sure you join it back to the start again. Okay, so now that's its own custom shape. We go back to the select tool. All right, now you got a funky looking key tag. All right, so it's completely up to you what you want to do. So I'm just going to delete that one for now. All right, so down here, once again, if you wanted a star, you could grab it, drag it over, and do what you want with that. So once again, that's engraving, you could cut it. All right, so you should start to work out very quickly what you can and can't do, and what obviously you want to get out of the laser cutting process. If we go to browse shapes, all right, like I said before, there's a lot more options. If we, here we go. If we go to emojis, obviously, for example, we could grab, say, a little dog. All right, and that's already pre-done for us. So if you were to chuck that onto your design, it would engrave it. Now, can you notice that this one here is a bit gray? It's not quite black. It will still engrave, but it will be a lighter engrave, so it won't be as dark as my name here. Okay, you should be able to just click on it, and same thing down here in color. All right, you can obviously change that so you can get it to be all black if you need to. All right, so there's things like that you can do as well. The other one I wanted to show you is, for example, a polygon. At the moment, that has 5 sides. So here on the right hand side you've got 5. So obviously if you want to change that to 8, obviously that will change it for you. So once again you can customize that based on your design. You can rotate the model around. You can do that manually over here as well if I zoom in. So anything that you want to do, obviously this one here changes the size. But if you move just past it, you can see the arrows change. So if you want to spin your model around, obviously you can do that too. Okay, so there's a couple options there that you can do with your design. Now if you've got your own image that you want to insert into your design, unfortunately on this program that's a limitation that we've got, because if we go File, Import Image, alright, I can click on an image, go Open, alright, and obviously we need to pay for a membership here. So we can get around this by using our Trotec Ruby software to get our file ready for the printer as well. Alright, so let's say I've made room for it. Let's say I wanted a little image to be in here for whatever reason. Alright, and I'm ready to obviously make this on the laser cutter. I can go File, and you want to export it as an SVG file. Alright, and I can call this laser 1 for now. Download. Alright, that's going to go straight to my downloads file. So if I open up now and I go to the new tab, now I've got this pre-saved here, but for you guys, if you haven't already, you're going to have to go HTTPS and just write exactly what I've got. So 10.60.62.34. Yeah, 2402. Alright, so you should have that typed up. If you hit enter, alright, it's going to ask you to log in. Now, hopefully you've already set up your login. If not, you're going to have to go onto your school email and have a look, because I've sent you a link that you can obviously create your password for it. Okay, so for me, I'll sign in quickly. So it should be your school email and then your password. Awesome, so it'll take you into here. Now, what you're going to have to do is, first of all, you're going to import your file. So we'll import, so laser 1, open. Alright, so here it is. So I'm going to open that up and just click on it. Alright, now this is our file that we had on the other program. Now, best part about Ruby is it keeps everything separate. So I can grab this circle and go, oh, you know what, I stuffed that up. I should have had the circle maybe here in the middle. Alright, so you can still make some of your design changes on here, which is good. Alright, but the other thing that we can do as well, I might just move that back to where it was, is we can insert that image that we wanted before. So if we go here, add image to design, I can click on the image I want, open, alright, so the image is outside, oh here it is, that's why it's so big. So I saw the error here, so if I hover over that, it said objects, oops, outside of canvas. So obviously it's way too big at the moment. I'm just going to shrink that up and bring it back to where it should be. Alright, so let's say that's my image there. Okay, so that's exactly where I want it. Alright, now obviously the type of images you use is crucial. Obviously if you use an image that's got a lot of detail in there, let's say it's a photo of you and your friends, it may not laser cut too well. You want an image that has really good contrast, so it can really define certain features on that image. So something like this is perfect. You just got black text, alright, and obviously nothing in the background, so it makes it quite simple. Alright, let's say this is all done. What you're going to do is you're going to go to Create Job. Okay, now on here, it's just got your file on the actual laser cutting bed. Okay, so that's how big the bed is. Alright, and your file is going to be quite small in comparison to that. Now, on here, obviously you don't know where the head of the laser is. You can't really line anything up. So that's not really important for us right now, so you can just leave that there. The one thing that is important, alright, is the material here. Now, it's set to standard. All right, for you, you want to make sure that, if you're using, let's say, acrylic, for example, I can click on it and type in acrylic. Okay, now I normally use this one. So the one that says Marotti Plastics 3mm acrylic. Click on that. All right, and now it's going to have obviously your settings that you can set to this. So I might have to just zoom out a little bit so you can see what's going on. All right, it's not quite working. So you can see very, very small here. It says engrave quality is black. All right, so the things that are in black is what it's going to engrave. If I scroll down, it's got some of the settings there. All right, now this one here, cut quality, is going to be red. So whatever's red is what it's going to cut. Okay. Yeah, normally once we got this onto the computer next to the laser cutter, obviously this is a lot bigger. On my laptop, it's a little bit squished up. All right, so let's say we're happy with that. It's all ready to go. What you're going to do is hit Q, and that's going to add it to the queue on the laser cutter in the classroom. All right, so what you're going to do is go to the laser cutter. All right, and you're going to go to the queue, which would look like this icon here. Now, if you zoom, it will go down all the way to the bottom. This is your project there. Okay, so when you're on the school computer, scroll to the bottom, find your design, which you've added to the queue. All right, and then what you're going to have to do is save the file as. Now, I don't think I've got an option to do that on this computer. Okay, but yeah, you're going to have to go through and save as. I think there's normally an icon here, all right, which allows you to do that. Oh, actually, my mistake, sorry. It's right here. So if I hover over the design, okay, it has a little floppy disk sign there. It has a plus, so I can click on that one. There you go, save as. So when you're on the school computer, you come back to prepare, all right, and then you have your design there, and then you can obviously line it up to wherever you need to cut it. Okay, so I hope this helped you get started. But if you've got any questions, come and see me.